Saddiq Bey just auditioned for the Boston Celtics as he put up 25 points, being the leading scorer for the Atlanta Hawks in tonight's Celtics versus Hawks matchup. And it's looking like he wants to be a part of this Celtics team, going into that culture, performing at a high level stakes versus the team that is highly interested in him, with the Grant Williams traded player exception. We'll be diving in, looking at how impactful Saddiq Bey was in tonight's loss versus the Hawks and how he could be a fit for this Boston Celtics team. All of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. But before we dive into this Boston Celtics content, 78% of you guys are not subscribed, and if you're part of one of the thousands of people that aren't subscribed and want to make sure you stay up to date on daily Boston Celtics news and coverage throughout the season and the playoffs, we've been pumping out videos ahead of the trade deadline, so if you want to make sure you stay up to date, hit that subscribe button, as you definitely will not regret it. But let's dive into the news at hand today. Make sure to grab a snack, as it's going to be a jam-packed episode as we dive in, looking at the Boston Celtics and them looking at possibly bringing in a guy in Saddiq Bey here to Boston. Now, if you guys missed the videos earlier this afternoon, you guys can check them out. We had a video going over the Xavier Tillman trade that happened earlier this afternoon, and we also had a video with Isaac, Josh, and myself discussing the ramifications, diving into the truth of the Xavier Tillman deal, and then after that, diving into some possible other moves, because the Boston Celtics are still set to be making moves after that Xavier Tillman move. They obviously still have the Grant Williams traded player exception, since the acquisition of Xavier Tillman only cost the Boston Celtics Lamar Stevens and 2 second-round picks. The Celtics still have that roster spot, and they still can go after and get a key guy for this team. And Brad Stevens has been wanting a big-time wing, and Saddiq Bey is that guy. I think he can truly be that big-time wing that the Celtics want. His value won't be that high, as the Hawks are looking to possibly get rid of him for a cheaper steal, and he could be a guy that could put the Celtics over the top for this title contention. If we want to look at Saddiq Bey's stats in tonight's game, we can see, like I mentioned, 25 points for the Atlanta Hawks, 9 for 16 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, with 9 total rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. The man had 10 points in the first, 3 or 4 minutes for the Atlanta Hawks, dominating in the first quarter, rounding out the rest of the game with 15 more total points. But as we saw in the fourth quarter, this Hawks team was going to him, trying to find him ways, and he was attacking the rim with ease, being a solid defender as well. As we know and mentioned, as we can look back, he also shot 4 for 7 from the three-point range, so he can stretch out and hit that three-point at a pretty decent clip. It's been a little bit shaky this season, especially with the Atlanta Hawks, transitioning, playing with different players in different roles. But I think if you were to come to this Boston Celtics team, Saddiq Bey fitting into that role of the Boston Celtics as another wing on this team for this bench unit could be a massive move and move mountains for this team. As Josh discussed in the video earlier, he was talking about Sam Hauser not really having a replacement on the Celtics roster. Everyone else kind of has a replacement for one of these guys, but the Celtics' depth at the wing position is definitely their weakest after making this Xavier Tillman move, and possibly going after a guy in Saddiq Bey who, can come into this roster and give you quality playoff minutes for this bench unit, gives this lineup a lot of flexibility to run. We obviously seen Hauser and Pritchard step up tremendously for this bench unit, alongside the likes of Al Horford and Luke Kornet, but just briefing up and bringing on some more talent for this bench unit could just help this team make a deeper playoff push and go further in the playoffs. We saw with the 2022 championship team that the lack of inexperience for that bench unit desperately affected how they handled the series versus the Golden State Warriors. So having Payton Pritchard, who's already had some playoff experience, same thing with Al Horford, Luke Kornet, and now bringing in Xavier Tillman, who already has that experience going up against Anthony Davis and guarding some great big men, but also, being just a hard-nosed defender on the at the power forward position. This is looking great for the Boston Celtics as they look to push on their quest for their championship push. We want to look at tonight's game. Tatum and Brown didn't do that much for the Boston Celtics. They held their own and did solid, but nothing really outstanding from them. Porzingis was absolute beast for the Boston Celtics, though, putting up 31 points for the Boston Celtics tonight, 1 assist and 3 total rebounds, 13 for 19 from the field, stretching that floor a little bit. And Derrick White coming up huge for the Boston Celtics late in the fourth quarter, hitting a massive amount of threes, I believe a total of 4 of them, which he made 5 in total, but 4 of them in the fourth quarter with 7 total assists as well for the Celtics. Really showing off that underappreciation role, showing that he is a guy that is deserving to be an all-star, even if he's not up on that list. He has those all-star numbers and definitely is an underappreciated guy in the league. I saw a clip from Dominique Wilkins on the Atlanta Hawks podcast saying he's the most underappreciated guard in the whole NBA. So if legends like Dominique can understand and recognize that, and guys like him can give him praise, especially for how well he's been playing, I think that he's definitely unappreciated in the league. And tonight we also saw some big performances from guys in Sam Hauser and Payton Pritchard. Shot efficiently for the team tonight. 6 for 13. They were 6 for 10 at the beginning. A little bit worse, but 10 points for Hauser and a total of 8 points for Pritchard with a plus 25 combined for both of those guys. I don't want to hear the hate in the comment section down below saying that both of these guys aren't playoff ready, that they don't have that experience, they're not tough enough. I believe in our Boston Celtics, and I believe in guys like Payton Pritchard and Sam Hauser to get the job done. Now, obviously, with the Boston Celtics still having this Grant Williams traded player exception looming above all of our heads, it is possible that the Celtics will be making a move ahead of the deadline. Now, will it be to go get another big? I necessarily don't think so, as Xavier Tillman has kind of filled that role for the Boston Celtics at the big hole slot. There is another guard. That is a possibility. We've seen some rumors of Lonnie Walker, which I know some of the Celtics fans on Twitter and in our comments are very, very hyped up. I think he could be a great guy to come in and fit in. The only problem I see with Lonnie Walker is giving him some quality minutes alongside Payton Pritchard and Sam Hauser. I think bringing in a guy like Saddiq Bey, who clearly showed that he wants to be on a contending team and making that push, could move mountains for the Celtics. And for the Celtics giving up a lot of capital to get Saddiq Bey, I don't think they would have to. With the Hawks, being close to the luxury tax, wanting to move off of some of their players to get some lesser contracts and to move their salary cap number down a bit. A guy like Saddiq Bey, who's looking to be an RFA and is going to be a free agent next season, could be a guy the Celtics could just pick up, bring on for this 1 year. He has a good performance and deep in the playoffs, and he moves on to another team and gets himself a long-term deal secured. It seemed that the Detroit Pistons didn't want to give him a long-term deal. It seemed that the Atlanta Hawks don't want to give him a long-term deal, and it's looking like the Boston Celtics won't want to give him one either, but he could be, a nice spark to have just for this last half of the season to get the Celtics over the hump and helping out with the injuries within the wing position if a guy like Hauser, Tatum, or Brown were to suffer a severe injury in that depth position, because we've already seen the Celtics front court already have some depth issues and depth problems. That's why they went after get Xavier Tillman, so a nice wing replacement could help out that as well. Like I mentioned, though, the Pistons did trade to Atlanta for Saddiq Bey. They did trade him for second-round picks. So the Celtics using the TPE and some second-round picks to get this deal done is definitely possible. They have 4 left that they can use to utilize in more trades. So definitely expect Brad Stevens to be on his phone after this game, possibly with the Atlanta Hawks to discuss a deal with Saddiq Bey. But even if not, just on the phones, ready to go, trying to get the Celtics their last piece for their roster as they still hold a vacant roster spot and still have that TPE that could definitely bring in a quality piece for the Celtics championship run. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below on this game and the Saddiq Bey stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.